Have you ever reached the end of another working week feeling completely exhausted, knowing that you've worked incredibly hard, you've delivered results, you've gone above and beyond, and yet it still feels like you're having to prove yourself? You watch other people get recognized, and a little voice inside starts asking, "What am I missing?" The frustrating part is that the longer this goes on, the more expensive it becomes. It costs you your confidence, it costs promotions and opportunities, lost income, and over time, it starts changing how you see yourself. It starts costing you the belief that you're capable of something much more. Does any of that sound familiar? What if there's another way to look at this? I don't believe that you're being overlooked because you lack talent. I think you've simply been following a set of career rules that no longer work in today's workplace. And now I want to show you what those rules are and what you can do instead. Somewhere along the way, many of us were given some well-meaning career advice. Work hard, keep your head down, be reliable, do a great job, and eventually someone will notice. And for a long time, we believed that was true. In fact, for many years, it probably was. But the workplace has changed. The way careers grow has changed. And I think this is where so many smart and capable women get stuck. Working hard absolutely matters. It builds credibility. People trust you. You become the person everyone relies on. But hard work alone doesn't automatically position you for the next leadership opportunity. Because being recognized for your contribution is different from being seen as someone who's ready to lead. Those are two very different things. One of the biggest myths I see is the belief that promotion is simply a reward for doing a great job. I don't think that's how it works anymore. Promotion is really about recognizing what you've already done. It's about believing what you're capable of doing next. And that's a completely different conversation. The more I've worked with professional women over the years, the more I've realized that the women who feel overlooked are not lacking the talent. They're intelligent, experienced, hardworking. In fact, they're often the people holding everything together. So if you've ever wondered, what am I missing? It's not your ability. I think there are 3 ways you could be unintentionally keeping yourself stuck. And the interesting thing is, you probably don't even realize that you might be doing them. Firstly, one of the beliefs that keeps you stuck is that you may have assumed that if you keep doing exceptional work, someone will eventually notice. And sometimes they do, but often they don't. Because while you focused on getting the job done, someone else is helping people understand the impact that they're having. Now, that's not about showing off, and it's not about taking the credit for work that isn't yours. It's about helping people connect the dots. If people don't understand the value that you bring, how can they see you as the right person for the next leadership opportunity? And secondly, I see women stuck in the fear, waiting until they feel confident to make the next move. I hear it all the time. I'll apply when I feel ready. I'll speak up once I know I've got something worthwhile to say. The irony is that confidence doesn't usually come first. Think about everything you've been good at, like driving a car or starting a new job or maybe even having a difficult conversation. You didn't wait until you felt confident. You became confident because you kept doing it. Leadership works exactly the same way. The women who grow aren't fearless. They're simply willing to take the next step before they feel completely ready. And then thirdly, this is the one that I'm most passionate about. I think it's the one people actually talk about the least. We spend so much time focusing on what we should be doing differently. Speak up more, network more, build your personal brand. Those things absolutely have their place, but very few people talk about what's happening inside. Very often, there's a little voice inside saying, don't say anything. What if you're wrong? Don't put yourself forward. Someone else is probably better. Stay where it's safe. Then no amount of networking or communication training will solve the real problem. You'll still hesitate. You'll still hold on and hold yourself back. Not because you aren't capable, but because your brain is trying to protect you. And that's exactly why I believe career growth starts on the inside. Before we change what we do, we need to understand what's driving how we show up. This is exactly why I spend so much time talking about our inner fitness. Over the years, I've realized that career growth isn't just about what you do. It's about what's happening inside you while you're doing it. Think about those moments when you're about to speak up in a meeting, or you're preparing for a difficult conversation, or you've just received some tough feedback. What's happening inside your mind in those moments? Are you calm? Are you questioning yourself? Are you able to stay grounded? Or does self-doubt start taking over? What does your mind chatter actually sound like? To me, that's what inner fitness is all about. It's about learning to manage your thoughts instead of letting them manage you. It's about being able to steady yourself when things don't go to plan. It's choosing courage even when your comfort zone is calling you back. After more than 30 years in corporate leadership, I've learned that senior leaders are looking for people they can trust. And that kind of trust starts with someone who trusts themselves. The good news is that you don't have to become someone else. You don't have to change your personality. You don't have to pretend to be the most confident person in the room. You simply need to become more intentional about how you show up. Maybe that's speaking up just once more in a meeting. Maybe it's sharing the impact of a project that you've led. Maybe it's having the conversation that you've been putting off. Maybe it's backing yourself before you feel completely ready. None of those things require you to become a different person. They simply require you to stop holding yourself back. Here's a question I'd love you to reflect on. Where are you playing it safe because it feels more comfortable? And where could you take one small step so that your future self will thank you for? Lasting change doesn't happen at the end of this video. It happens the moment you begin seeing yourself differently. For years, I genuinely believed that working harder was the answer. I was usually the first one in the office and the last one to leave. I took enormous pride in being the person everyone could rely on. Looking back now, wearing those long hours almost became a badge of honor for me. I took on more projects. I exceeded every KPI. I said yes far more often than I should have. I thought being busy meant I was proving my commitment, that I was worthy. Then people would surely notice. I thought that if I just kept delivering exceptional results, the opportunities would naturally follow. And don't get me wrong, working hard absolutely helped me build credibility. It gave me experience, it opened doors, but it also came at a cost. I was constantly chasing the next achievement, constantly proving myself. And over time, that pressure became exhausting. What I didn't realize back then was that I was working harder and it wasn't actually the answer. The real shift happened when I stopped focusing only on what I was delivering and started paying attention to how I was showing up. I began intentionally developing my confidence, learning how to communicate my ideas more effectively, build stronger relationships across the organization, and trusting my own judgment. And that's when everything started to change, not because I suddenly became more capable. I was always been capable. The difference was that other people could finally see me as the leader I knew I was. Perhaps this is what it all comes down to. The workplace has changed. Leadership has changed. And perhaps it's time your approach changed. Becoming respected and valued as a leader begins the moment you stop questioning yourself. When you begin showing up differently, knowing your worth, other people begin responding to you differently. I have to repeat this. Lasting change doesn't happen at the end of this video. It happens the moment you begin seeing yourself differently. I'd love to hear from you. Which of the 3 things we spoke about today resonated with you most? Was it working hard and hoping someone notices? Or waiting until you feel confident? Or holding yourself back because of self-doubt? Let me know in the comments. I read every one of them, and there's a good chance your story will help another woman realize she's not alone. And if this conversation resonated with you, I'd love to have you here. We'll continue to explore practical ways to strengthen your inner fitness, build genuine confidence, and become the kind of leader who is respected, trusted, and ready for whatever comes next. I'll see you in the next video.